Pain has a way of settling in, making a home in your bones, whispering that it is who you are. Carl Jung spoke of this. The quiet shift from feeling pain to being pain, until you no longer know where one ends and the other begins. Tonight we sit with that ache, not to chase it away, but to see it clearly. To remember that pain is a guest, not the host, because beyond the hurt is a self still waiting to be found, a self untouched by the suffering it has carried. In the gentle shadows of our inner world, where whispers of the past softly echo, we find ourselves on the threshold of a delicate journey. This journey begins quietly, seeking to unveil the ancient scar, the first wound that gracefully imprints upon the canvas of our being. Before language graces us, these primal encounters with rejection, loss, or criticism write themselves into our souls, leaving marks that shape the stories we carry through life. This odyssey invites us to sidle up to our earliest pains, viewing them not as weights, but as transformative guides eager to reveal the potential within. Beneath the layers of consciousness lie the unarticulated imprints, the subtle yet powerful sensations that lay the foundation of belief. The body remembers what words cannot yet express, a tightening of the chest, a fleeting sense of being left alone in a world too vast. These whispers of early experience form a mysterious language spoken by the soul, resonating long before reason can interpret. In this unspoken symphony, we find the genesis of our self-understanding, the silent overture of a life that begins to take shape in response to these tender touchstones. As the story of self unfolds, these early wounds echo, reverberating gently through our lives. Like a familiar refrain, they guide us with their well-known patterns, each one a subtle chord in the symphony of our emotional responses. As time advances, these echoes cast themselves into adulthood, replaying their silent, poignant notes. Whether it is the fear that shadows intimacy or the anxiety lingering in the wake of potential rejection, these echoes persistently weave through life, offering an invitation to transform their themes into harmonies of resilience and understanding. An invisible brand, a watermark veiled in shadow, etches itself upon our identity. To carry this brand is to navigate a delicate paradox, a dance between a visible resilience and hidden vulnerability. Once born from tales of insufficiency, now poised as a luminescent guide. This brand, woven into our beliefs and actions, holds the transformative potential that can turn narratives of limitation into stories of strength. It challenges us to step lightly into the realms of self-love and redefine our narratives, embracing their wholeness, both light and shadow entwined. In the garden of the soul, rejection and criticism nestle like seeds, poised to sprout beliefs that shadow the blooms of self-worth. These tender seeds, if left untended, grow into the tangled vines of a distorted self-reflection that whispers, "I am not enough." Yet within this turbulent dance of emotion lies the opportunity for healing, to root out these beliefs and cultivate a space where resilience and self-compassion blossom freely, unburdened by the weight of past judgments. Amidst life's ever-shifting tides, silent narratives arise like constellations in the night sky, guiding us through the landscape of identity. Woven from early wounds, these stories shape our perception of self and the world around us. Each tale, whispered softly, crafts a patchwork where stories of inadequacy evolve. Becoming aware of these narratives gently opens the door to reclaiming them, transforming whispers of unworthiness into luminous paths that guide us toward new possibilities. In reflection, we find the power to bridge past and present, gently calling upon the grace to transcend the constraints of our earliest wounds. Reflection invites us to navigate the corridors of our experience, unearthing the seeds of transformation, where understanding extinguishes judgment and compassion blooms eternal. Here lies the freedom to honour past scars as guiding beacons rather than chains, allowing us to chart a course anew, not bound by history, but informed by its wisdom. In doing so, hope flowers under the moonlit sky, lighting the way along a path where past burdens quietly unravel, no longer confining the ever-expanding horizons of possibility. Embracing resilience is an art, a dance of emotional alchemy, where each scar becomes a testament to transformation. Within each wound lies the capacity for renewal, urging us to convert pain into wisdom and vulnerability into strength. This alchemy finds its fire in introspection, where raw emotions gently refine into pearls of insight and grace. Through this tender embrace of discomfort, we forge paths of transformation, nurturing a lattice of light within that sustains our identity and emboldens us to meet life's challenges with grace and newfound purpose. Tenderness reveals profound healing, where the compassionate witness stands beside us, offering solace in the storm. In holding our scars with kindness, we cast aside patterns of self-criticism, planting precious seeds of empathy where judgment once lay. Self-kindness invites a radical acceptance, a warm blanket nurturing the scars as emblems of growth and untapped potential. As we become gentle witnesses to our own narratives, we honour the rich complexity of life's journey, acknowledging that within each scar resides the essence of our humanity, a boundless capacity for healing, connection, and the radiant wholeness that lies beyond life's transient pains. In the warm embrace of childhood, where innocence mingles with discovery, our identities begin to take shape, woven from threads of whispered affirmations and silent chidings. Imagine a loom where the essence of who we are is tangled with moments of misunderstanding, rejection, and perceived inadequacy, imprinting deeply even before we're aware. Through the eyes of a child, every smile, every frown, becomes a stitch in the fabric that will one day be the tapestry of self. Each instance is absorbed not just in the heart, but in the very sinew of what will become our beliefs and what will define our relationship with the world. As the years stretch forward, these early impressions, moments of feeling unseen, unmet, begin to sing a haunting lullaby, echoing in the chambers of the mind with tales of "I am not enough" and "I am unlovable." These self-told stories solidify, becoming an internal script that guides the choices of a burgeoning adult, shaping dreams and fears alike. This narrative, born from the tender soil of childhood's misconceptions, transforms fluid possibility into rigidity, dictating how each footstep is placed upon the stage of life. Imagine the self as a fortress, its walls built with stones of past wounds. Each scar from the past serves not only as a reminder of what was, but as a structure, outlining what is believed to be. Our behaviours, our reactions, echo these injuries, perpetuating designs that perhaps were never meant to be part of the blueprint of our lives. In this way, pain silently charts our journey, guiding us through its familiar corridors, each twist and turn masquerading as our destined path. Beneath a well-practiced smile or stoic demeanour lies these strongholds. Defensive mechanisms become indistinguishable from true character. Resilience, forged in the fires of early adversity, assumes the guise of stoicism, while vigilance cloaks itself as caution. These are not merely roles adopted to navigate life. They become masks, gently yet profoundly shaping every interaction with the world. Through them, the line blurs between coping and identity itself, until we are no longer sure where one ends and the other begins. Self-criticism emerges, like a barbed vine entwined around the mind's fragile frame, whispering doubts to keep the psyche within the safe confines of what it knows. Cloaking itself in wise pretense, it insists upon the familiar, dissuading exploration outside its boundary. It is a loyal guard, urging retreat from the edge of change in favour of the uncomfortable safety of the known. This voice, though stifling, is often cast in the role of protector, holding us in a trance where motion mimics progress, where familiarity mistakenly presents as comfort. Over time, external criticisms taken in from family and peers metamorphose into an internal dialogue, echoing harsh words that gnaw at the roots of self-worth. Those once spoken realities become the script of personal narratives, unseen but always spoken, shaping the self-perception into one where doubts thrive. Every repeated criticism seems to confirm these negative beliefs, embedding them further within, binding identity to the notion that pain is an inseparable part of self. Then arise emotional triggers, those sudden awakenings of past unease, as reminders of these deeply rooted pains. In a cascade of emotions, the embers of old wounds flare, and in that heat, responses forged in history condemn the present moment to the past's reality. Yet there exists a transformative power in recognizing these triggers for their true purpose. They are guides pointing to uncharted areas of the self, urging healing, urging freedom from the burdens they carry. Defense mechanisms spring forth, narratives fashioned to shield the tender heart from further harm. They stand as complex constructs, offering comfort, yet binding the spirit with impenetrable vines. These defences whisper tales of justification, explaining away behaviours that protect but also restrict. It is through acknowledging their dual nature that one begins the delicate work of dismantling them, cautious as to not destabilise the essence of self amongst the ruins, while creating space for light to seep through. Resilience itself is a dual-edged sword. While it narrates a tale of strength and endurance, it also holds fast to a survivalist mentality, obscuring paths that lead to joy. To move from merely surviving to truly thriving requires a tender rewiring of this trait, engaged through the humility of new stories that sing of expansion rather than constriction. Thus we tread the path of integration with a curious and compassionate heart. This journey seeks not to abandon the past, but to harmonise its lessons into the flowing narrative of a self unbound by yesteryear's shadows. With patience and understanding, we work to transform a pain-centric identity into one of richness and depth, where the song of the past is sung not as a dirge, but as a hymn of completeness. And in this tender apprenticeship of self-love, the past becomes not merely a series of repeated woes, but a tapestry of wisdom from which new threads of possibility, of wholeness, unfurl. In the gentle shadows of our inner world, pain often fashions itself into a narrative that weaves through our lives with a subtle, yet unyielding presence. It begins as an unwelcome intrusion, a sharp reminder of our vulnerability. Over time, however, this pain transforms, wrapping around us like a familiar cloak, an enigmatic presence that assures us of its constancy in the face of life's unknowns. Why do we cling to such stories, to these self-echoing tales of hurt and sorrow that seem to define our very essence? In the comforting predictability of these wounds, there lies a refuge, a paradoxical sanctuary against the fears that whisper of healing's uncertainty. Consider the artist who returns time and again to paint a single scene fraught with sorrow, a portrait with which they find shared solace. It mirrors how we often inhabit tales of self-criticism or embrace the sentiment of victimhood. To step into the light of healing is to confront deep-seated emotions, to dare the uncertainty of uncharted emotional waters. It's as though, standing on the precipice of change, we shy away, preferring the melancholic symphony that has composed the overture of our lives thus far. As chapters unfold, they tell of the grip this familiar pain holds, like a melancholic melody, resonating throughout our tender emotional landscape. At the heart of this is a profound fear, a fear of the unknown that lies beyond the comforting borders of suffering. It's a reluctance to traverse the terrain of healing, to dismantle the walls we've so meticulously constructed from stories of hurt. Repeated pain, whilst burdensome, offers a predictable map, a guidepost amidst the nebulous fog of potential peace and transformation. Like a mirror reflecting only shadows, it challenges us, casting flashes of fear about challenging the roles and beliefs we've held for so long. In this dance between the known harm and the feared hope, pain becomes both a prison and a peculiar shelter, blocking the paths of growth and metamorphosis. Within the chambers of our mind, self-criticism weaves intricate tales around past wounds, reinforcing them with each whispered doubt. This inner voice, relentless in its reminders of "I am unlovable" or "I am destined to fail," preserves the status quo. Often adopted from those who first inflicted the pain, it becomes an ally, reinforcing the cage we've spun from our narratives. In this perpetuation of the familiar pain, the critic's voice echoes consoling yet constraining, asking no more of us than to remain safely ensconced in despair's embrace. Aligning with this narrative, some find solace in the tales of victimhood, a paradoxical grip of control over life's inherent chaos. To be cast as the victim in one's own life story offers not only consistency, but also a shield against the chaos that healing might bring. It assures us we need not take accountability for change that shifts beneath our unsteady feet. Even as these tales foster empathy or pity from others, they also root us firmly in the soil of stagnation, foreclosing upon the fluidity of personal growth. Amidst this is anxiety, that ever-present guardian of familiar sufferings, an emotional anchor moored to the past's storm-ravaged shores. It acts as a protector, a vigilant sentry keeping watch for threats that echo with past traumas. Yet it's a protection that separates us from experiencing the calm essential for healing. This fortress of anxiety ensures that the pain remains predictable, tethered, and caged. Enveloped in the embrace of specific emotional states, melancholy, bitterness, or resentment, pain becomes a strange, nurturing grip. These emotions, though tainted by past trauma, have become narratives we live by, a sensory experience of existence. Yet they also isolate, confining us to the familiar confines of pain. To heal, we must learn these constructs anew, stepping beyond their influence towards a life rich with untapped potential. Some, like captives bonding with their captors, develop a kinship with their pain. This bond roots deeply in the soul, a defense against the stillness of the unknown. Embracing pain feels less like embracing an enemy and more a part of self-identity. So much so that to part with it feels like an existential threat, a tearing away of the self. This nurturing attachment becomes a shield, asserting agency where past powerlessness resided. Suffering, ingrained as a self-defining component, casts an illusion over our lives. It suggests that endurance is proof of worth, a badge of honour, in a world indifferent to individuality. Yet this narrative, this static self-definition, betrays the light of our potential. Through introspection, we must redefine the essence of self, recognising suffering for what it is, an experience to observe rather than an anchor. Healing, gentle and transformative, requires acknowledgement of the past, a soft embrace of pain without yielding to its dominion. By exploring its origins and roles in our identity formation, we loosen its grip. The question shifts: what have you taught me? Initiating a path toward transformation. As we anchor these lessons into a new understanding, healing blooms, inviting us to step into a wholeness beyond familiar confines. Thus, courage shapes a journey, casting aside the comfort of past wounds in favour of a future enigmatically bright, yet vastly, enticingly unknown. In the gentle shadows of our psyche, early wounds knit a tapestry woven with threads of longing, to be seen, to be heard, to be validated. This delicate fabric stretches back to moments when our worth felt questioned, leaving us in a lifelong pursuit of affirmation. As if touched with the echo of ancient chants, we find ourselves seeking approval, dancing a delicate ballet to earn the love withheld or denied. This silent script, etched deeply within, whispers promises. If I am validated, then truly am I worthy. But this script does not serve our highest good, steering us instead toward choices that bind us to a narrative of longing, not liberation. These cravings for validation trace their roots beneath the surface, where unhealed wounds echo in the chambers of our heart. And while the soothing balm of external approval gives momentary calm, it sows cycles where self-worth teeters on the scales held by others. In the absence of validation, feelings of rejection and inadequacy swell, needing to be faced in the shadowy corners of self-discovery, where intrinsic value waits, unshackled from external gaze. Here an inward journey begins, a sacred act of reframing internal narratives and embracing the discomfort of stepping back from this steady diet of external affirmation, seeking instead a more authentic self-worth emanating from within. Intimacy then becomes an intricate dance of reveal and retreat, where connection feels both an invitation and a riddle unsolvable. Those of us with histories speckled with betrayal and distress may find ourselves encased in emotional armour, forever circling the edges of true closeness. The heart yearns for connection while simultaneously fearing exposure, lest those deepest flaws be laid bare. Here lies a paradox, as intimacy avoidance reveals a yearning for other and a fear of what opening up may uncover. To trace such reluctance is to navigate memories of broken trusts, with childhood attachments unfulfilled or wounded. In self-preservation, we erect sturdy fortresses, where emotional unavailability masquerades as strength. But this refuge slowly transforms into isolation, a solitude reinforcing a history of hurt. Healing requires courage, a brave heart willing to risk the rawness of vulnerability, inviting transformation where armour is replaced by an internal space of safety. Here vulnerability shifts from fear to testimony, revealing the immense strength it takes to open again to love. Yet as seasons turn, shadows of self-sabotage cross our path, ensuring the pain state persists. This beguiling dance defies logic, casting barriers unseen, where opportunities slip by and change eludes us. This is the land of misbelief, where unworthiness and failure root within, sprouting cycles woven for protection rather than progress. In this safety net of sorrow's familiarity, we cast anchors to past experiences of failure, avoiding the abyss of unknown disappointments. Disentangling these subconscious webs illuminates moments past where negatives reinforced by tender minds in development took hold. Breaking the cycle unfolds through mindful reflection and acts of loving intervention, transitioning old sabotage into paths signalled by self-empowerment and authenticity. Anchored now in present mindfulness, reflections become keys, unlocking choices long deferred. The quest for external validation becomes a yearning spirit's lament, seeking nourishment external and elusive, a pursuit of accolades as milestones that entrench dependency over fulfillment. The realm of contemporary existence, with its endless streams and accolades, heightens this misguided quest. Hidden beneath, you find coping mechanisms born from unworthiness, imposed by neglect and rejection, where the external fills an intemporal void, yet fails to quench its thirst. Let kindness guide you towards self-reflection and inner inquiry, nurturing appreciation of self-worth, not reliant on external mirrors. Here, compassion rewrites the narrative, where love grows from within and validation ceases its reign. Patterns of avoidance loop within this dance, cloaks adorned in protection, yet concealing fear. In not wanting to relive old wounds, vulnerability is shielded, preventing growth, perpetuating belief that discomfort is insurmountable. The undercurrents of avoidance shimmer with apprehension, fearing leaps into unknown vulnerability. Yet, approached with compassion and gentle curiosity, avoidance patterns dissolve, revealing spaces where the courage to connect unfurls. Vulnerability beckons as a teacher, revealing pathways to transformation, where further journeys invite love without fear. In relationships, those crucibles of human interaction, control finds its paradox as a shield against unsolved fears. The fear of loss, born by unmet needs for early security, weaves within us the illusion that control affords safety amidst chaos. This anxious need to predict and manage betrays the spontaneity love desires, perpetuating cycles of sabotage. Liberation from these chains demands we understand our fears and surrender to trust in life's unpredictability. As emotional reactivity echoes through identity pain, impassioned responses capture moments where unresolved tensions rear their heads. These eruptions, rooted in old conflicts, maintain narratives where perceiving enemies reinforces fear. Beneath these storms lie the echoes of unrecognized cries from fractured pasts. Amid reactive impulses, a return to mindfulness unveils a different path, anchoring us in authentic, emotional expression, transcending ancestral constraints. Here, perfectionism's shivering allure stands unmasked, a safeguard for self-doubt, crafted within narratives where love was earned and flaws spotlighted. This compulsion cocoons us within unrealistic standards, promising elusive fulfillment. Yet beneath perfection's facade lurks wounds, seeking connections between worth and achievement, which warp our humanity. With compassion as guide, perfection is unseated, replaced with a kinder grace, celebrating human imperfection, liberating the self from unattainable expectations. As we navigate, denial and numbing unfold into narratives of false resilience. Weaving misperceptions that hurt denial is strength. This strategy whispers deceptive comforts, masking vulnerability while disconnecting self from soul. The psyche hardens, washed over by layers thick with avoidance. To peel back these layers beckons bravery, revealing vulnerability as the path to true tenacity. In this exposure, healing arises from deep authenticity. The healed heart knows the beauty of experiencing life's richness in unfiltered moments. Reframe identity pain's echoes, and liberation comes as the dawn after long storms, casting light toward transformation. This journey does not extinguish pain, it transmutes it, guiding us through shadows to reclaim self, where empowered freedom and unwavering self-discovery await. In the quiet vastness of our psyche, untouched by the light we typically cast upon our conscious thoughts, a secret realm resides. This hidden territory, which Carl Jung called the shadow, holds the unseen fragments of our inner selves, elements repressed, ignored, or deemed undesirable. Within the shadowy abyss lie the silent whispers of our ancient wounds, small scars of the soul tethered by threads from our past. Yet this shadow, often mistaken for darkness itself, is more a foundational mosaic of our being, weaving its subtle power through the tapestry of our lives. It exists not as a malevolent force, but as an intricate dance partner to our conscious self, shaping responses and colouring perceptions with its unseen brush. To come to terms with the shadow is a courageous endeavour, one where the seeker of truth confronts insecurities and fears locked away, setting the stage for a profound personal evolution. The formation of the shadow begins in the soft, impressionable years of childhood, sculpted by moments of shame, rejection, and a longing for acceptance. As social creatures, we yearn for belonging, often at the expense of suppressing parts of our nature seen as unfit or unwelcome. These disowned traits retreat to an inner world, not one of eternal night, but rather a realm of forgotten dreams and renounced potential. Through socialization, the child learns to mask certain emotional truths, layering over the authentic self with veils of adaptation. These adaptations, while fostering inclusion, inadvertently craft a fragmented identity, leaving a legacy of unclaimed aspects in the shadow depths. As time passes, this shadow gathers the weight of each unspoken word, each unexpressed emotion, creating an entity beneath the surface, rich with the material of life left unattended. Its influence, though obscured, colours adult life with mysterious patterns and reactions, echoing the concealed stories of growth denied. The shadow's ironic power lies in its ability to strengthen, in ignorance, yet wither when met with the warm light of awareness. It does not vanish when faced, but integrates into the broader narrative of the self, allowing it to emerge in its full, vibrant form, no longer a stranger in its own home. The dance with our shadow shapes an identity that feels fractured, tethered to patterns and behaviours that may veil the true essence of who we are. An unexamined shadow often guides us down paths of reaction, causing outbursts of anger without clear cause, stirring persistent fears, or driving us into numbing disconnection. These behaviours do not define us but signal a discord between what is seen and what lurks beneath. When viewed through this lens, anger transforms from foe to guide, pointing the way to deeper understanding. As we trace its roots, we discover unmet needs and unexpressed truths waiting patiently for recognition. Fear too nestles within this shadowy abode, presenting visions of what could be and keeping us on edge with an endless chorus of what-ifs. Yet to walk through this enchanted mist is to find the fragments of our soul yearning for acknowledgement, pulling us towards authenticity. As fear is summoned from its hidden lair, it reveals itself not as a spectre, but as a misunderstood ally, whispering lessons of perseverance and courage. In these corridors of shadow, a more insidious companion takes shape: numbing disconnection. This false refuge offers an illusion of resilience, luring us away from pain into barren lands void of feeling. Here emotions rest in silent dormancy, and life becomes an observation rather than a lived experience. To recognize this mask invites reawakening, aligning one's journey with emotional authenticity and risking vulnerability in the search for a more vibrant life. However, the path of shadow work does not lay barren. It invites us into rituals of transformation. This alchemical process demands honest introspection, an embrace of disowned parts that cannot be rushed nor forced but must be met with compassion and care. As we allow these disjointed aspects to find their rightful place, the shadow ceases to be a tyrant. It becomes a reservoir of creative potential, waiting patiently for us to dip our hands into its depth, bringing forth harmonious integration and vibrant expression. Amidst these delicate practices, compassionate self-reflection arises as both a sanctuary and a guiding star, softening the lines between the known and unknown with acceptance and empathy. By greeting our failures and vulnerabilities warmly, we dissolve the barriers that once stood tall between our conscious and unconscious selves, blending light and dark into a seamless embrace. Thus, the shadow's dominion is not a place of doom but a sacred guide, leading us with gentle insistence towards a truer, more authentic version of ourselves. By integrating its lessons and harmonizing its energies, we piece together a self that no longer fears the hidden crevices of identity. Here in the beautiful dance of shadow and light, life is met not with confrontation, but with a promise of eternal becoming. Imagine a landscape where the echoes of time vibrate through the air, filled with resonances of ancient scars and unhealed memories. Criticism and abandonment drift through this place, like autumn leaves, finding their way to the tender spots within us, where first wounds rest. These triggers are not just voices of current experience, they are relics from a past that was never truly put to rest. Like whispers from old companions, they remind us of a younger self, once marooned in rejection and solitude. Navigating these triggers demands a quiet courage, for they hold the gentle key to hidden chambers, waiting to tell their stories. Our emotional world, when disturbed, often transforms into an echo chamber, repetitively amplifying the slightest discord into symphonic chaos. Words or glances ricochet off the walls of our mind, carrying with them the ghostly timbre of all who have spoken before, turning reality into a refracted mirror of past pains. Here, perception is ensnared by songs of unworthiness, wrapping us in narratives we've worn thin, yet not discarded. The shadows cast by these echo chambers often whisper the roles we've lived, flawed, undeserving, forever at the mercy of misfortune. To step into the quiet, to hear beyond these echoes, invites freedom from the cycles that bind us. When a heart listens deeply, each trigger becomes a cycle of reinforcement, a self-reflective dance that draws us into its rhythm. We react, confirming beliefs that whisper tales of inadequacy and perpetual hardship. Each encounter deepens the groove of these beliefs, crafting patterns as ancient as the stars, but as fresh as dawn. Only through quiet intervention, a conscious pause, can the music change. By observing with a gentle curiosity, seeing the external pulls and internal symphonies, we uncover the old composition and seek new melodies, a slow and patient revelation. Projection and transference colour our defences, painting over the discomfort of self-inquiry. In the face of a trigger, we send our burdens outward, crafting illusions where others carry the weight of our own shadows. Like ancient artists, we drape current relationships in the veils of past affections and fears, allowing the past to speak through the mouths of today's figures. But in recognising these patterns, we begin the timeless journey Jung called individuation. Not just seeing, but integrating. Not just witnessing, but living. To release these rigid narratives that bind us is to step into a sacred space where identity is a flowing river, not a stone tablet. The tales of who we are, etched deeply by trauma and time, can be visited anew, not with judgment but with open-hearted inquiry. Each narrative, like a line in sacred poetry, waits to be read anew. Through this gentle inquiry, we discover narratives are just one telling of our story. Transformation is possible, a gentle unwrapping so that they may breathe under the canopy of present light. This vigilance we carry, the awareness of the ever-present trigger, guards us like a sentinel at the gate of suffering. A defence of such lasting watchfulness demands energy, binding us to a world perceived as fraught with hidden dangers. Yet in reviewing this attachment, there lies a path to peace, a horizon where risk is no longer an enemy. Trusting in the wind and flow of life, surrendering the guard's post, allows existence to unfold without the weight of defence. Identity, when cradled in gentle hands, finds its flexibility. Curiosity, an ancient guide, whispers the magic of questions over the rigidity of answers. It coaxes the moment to reveal its wisdom, holding the emotions lightly, turning triggers from enemies into intriguing guests. With this perspective, identity moves from a fixed portrait etched by the past into a lively dance of lines and colour, shifting and shaping upon the canvas of now, embracing potential and breadth. In the spiritual landscape of triggers, a deeper calling echoes. Each brush with pain opens a window to transcendence, inviting a communion with something greater. Jung teaches us to see the meeting of self and soul within these moments, a reminder that human suffering, though profoundly personal, is a universal journey. This spiritual alchemy transforms pain from weighty stone into shining wisdom, and the lightness of understanding. We come to see our stories intertwined with those of others, in a grand tapestry of experience. Resilience too finds its roots in conscious awareness. In the heart of turbulence where chaos often reigns, awareness stands as the calm eye, transforming each challenge into an arena for strength. That conscious choice, to witness rather than react, sows the seeds of durability to ride the emotional waves with grace. Our locus of control shifts inward, discovering that resilience grows strongest from internal foundations, touching not the world outside, but the world within. Amidst the swirling tones and textures of life, as the bind to suffering lifts, arises a self emancipated from old contours. This emerging being, untethered from narratives of pain, meets the world with pre-dawn freshness, a celestial body bathing in impermanence. Here lies the liberation, not from life's challenges, but through them. We become like the sky, embracing clouds without clutching, embodying existence itself as a vast, open horizon. In the quiet solitude where thoughts drift like gentle whispers of the night, there begins a profound transformation. It is here in the sacred space between moments that we cease to bind our identity to pain and commence witnessing it as an old weathered friend who holds stories of yesteryears. This is not merely a mental exercise, but an entire symphony of the senses. As you settle into the depths of silence, become aware of how the body silently holds its tales, the tightness that winds its way around the chest, the jaw clenched as if holding back the tide, the heaviness that wraps itself around your limbs like a forgotten cloak. These sensations are not adversaries to dispatch, but gentle messengers, each one a keeper of the narratives you carry, etched across the canvas of your being. Pause to allow curiosity to blossom as you observe every nuance, inviting compassion to weave through your thoughts like a gentle river. The body becomes a living tapestry, each thread a memory, interwoven with the colours of past heartaches and whispered fears. Behind closed eyes, the mind appears like a turbulent sea, thrumming with narratives born of bygone days. Embrace this ocean with the same curiosity. Label and accept each thought of inadequacy without becoming entangled in its web. In this state of mindful presence, you create a spaciousness, a sacred pause that beckons you to step back and observe. As you cultivate this witnessing perspective, rooted in patience and gentleness, you begin to move beyond perennial victimhood. A deeper self emerges from the shadows of these stories, wise and unfettered, allowing new choices to take root where old habits withered. Breath becomes the bridge connecting the conscious and subconscious, linking the tangible with the mystical. As emotions surge like a restless tide, resist the reflex to contract and hold. Instead, allow the rhythm of your breathing to become your anchor. With each inhale and exhale, you construct a sanctuary where present and past hold hands. This simple act of conscious breathing is an invitation to ground yourself, to feel rooted even as discomfort swells and ebbs. Let each breath become a quiet affirmation of your innate capacity to occupy the present fully. Each cycle of breath draws you deeper into a meditative space, dissolving the burden of past woes, inviting a gentle realignment with the harmony that life offers. Hidden within the depths of our thinking lies the stories we tell ourselves, tales so intricately tied to the sinews of our identity that they seem inseparable. What truths have we wrapped around old wounds, casting shadows that stretch far? As you tread softly on this journey towards healing, recognize the presence of these narratives. They are the guardians of beliefs dressed in the garments of inadequacy or abandonment. Engage in a gentle inquiry, an intimate dialogue with the self, asking, whence came this story? Each question becomes a compass pointing towards transformation. These sagas of identity are not immutable truths, but tales shaped by the perspective of a wounded past. And by recognizing them as such, we can carefully unravel the tapestry, revealing the underlying canvas where new images might flourish. With profound delicacy, work to dissolve the identification with pain that binds. Relinquish the I am statements that act as chains, crafted in moments of vulnerability. They tether us to a static image of self that denies growth and potential. Witness now the spaciousness that arises as you observe yourself, not as pain personified, but as a conscious witness. This realization frees the soul to explore the realms of possibility, to paint new murals of identity on a canvas once shadowed by pain. In this unfolding of awareness, self-compassion becomes a beacon guiding your quest. To hold oneself lovingly amidst the imperfections and unknowns is to cultivate a garden of resilience, where patience waters seeds of growth. Let go of the harsh critic within and embrace the kindness afforded a cherished friend. Know that amidst wounds lies the capacity for healing, a soft melody of resilience and renewal. Return again to the sanctuary of the body, the vessel of your sacred journey. It speaks in the language of sensations, offering truths filtered through the lens of lived experience. Engage in movements that whisper of grace. Yoga, Tai Chi, inviting the body to tell its tale, shedding the weight of ancient burdens for new energy and insight. As you move and breathe, remember that your body is not the bearer of burdens, but an ally in self-discovery, steering you towards the vibrant embrace of wholeness. Emotionally, the call's not to rigidity, but to the flowing dance of spontaneity. Invite emotional fluidity into your being. Allow your emotional spectrum to be dynamic and colourful, embracing each feeling as it is, in its raw, unprocessed state. In this acceptance, move towards responses that are chosen rather than reactions that are fixed. Ride the waves of emotion as they rise and fall, learning not to bind yourself to them, but to learn as they touch your shores. In stillness, find the fertile soil where transformation begins to take root. Within silence lies the alchemy of clarity. Like sediment settling in a glass of stirred water, stillness lets the essence of self come into focus. Through meditation or quiet walks, embrace the quietude that reveals the wisdom within. It anchors you, offering an endless expanse to explore what once was hidden. Finally, transcend the suffering to wisdom. Let pain be an ancient teacher, guiding you towards understanding and self-awareness. Like ancient alchemists transforming base metals to gold, honour pain as a sacred jewel of insight. Appreciate the hardship faced and the resilience it forged. With intentional authenticity, live fully and embrace every aspect of being. Weave the light and shadow parts into a vibrant tapestry. Align actions with cherished values, leaning into freedom offered by life's complex dance, embracing the journey with every shade and nuance. In the stillness of introspection, there lies an invitation for a sacred dialogue with the depths of our own being. Here in the soft embrace of solitude, we engage not with the cacophony of the world, but with the whispers of our wounded parts. These wounds, often hidden beneath layers of time and experience, are akin to ancient relics, waiting for gentle excavation. This inner conversation becomes a bridge into our personal landscape of pain, where understanding blooms under the light of awareness. In this gentle space of acceptance, free from judgment, our identities unfurl, each narrative waiting to be heard. This dialogue is not merely an introspective exercise, but a profound listening to the undercurrent of stories that have shaped our behaviours and emotions. It becomes an act of giving voice to the narratives that have defined and confined us. An unspooling of the intricate web woven through pain. Our task is not to assign blame to ourselves or others, but to recognise the threads of belief that have stitched our very being together. With compassionate curiosity, we ask ourselves, what sources have taught us these beliefs, and do they hold validity or usefulness in our lives today? As we dive into this exploration, questions naturally arise, namely, who taught you to believe this? Such inquiries lead us back to the genesis of long-held beliefs, often revealing influences inherited from family, society, or cultural paradigms. These beliefs, adopted unconsciously, cloak themselves around our identity, shaping who we think we are. Recognizing these influences allows us to peel back layers of inherited narratives, understanding their origins, intentions, and restrictions. This journey into the past is not about vilifying those who have shaped us, but liberating ourselves from unquestioned narratives. Central to this inner work is the cultivation of compassionate witnessing, observing with empathy instead of judgment. By becoming compassionate witnesses to our own stories, we create a sanctuary where the wounded self feels invited to emerge and express. This act means listening with an open heart, embracing every emotion without becoming entangled in it, and allowing wounds to surface in the warm light of kindness. Here, we find the separation of our core self from the pain story that has wrapped itself around us. Recognizing that pain and its narratives are transient, we disarm them, freeing our essence from the belief that suffering is its permanent state. Through this separation, we come to see our identity not as static, but as a river of experiences, emotions, and transformations. Our pain, while part of the riverbed, is not the whole river. By disentangling our identity from the stories of suffering, we open ourselves to narratives that emphasize resilience and discovery. In doing so, we initiate the reauthoring of our own story, acknowledging the dynamic interplay of all our parts. This journey prompts the question, what do you need now? Such a question urges us to attend to our wounded self with sincerity and care, guiding us to fulfill unmet needs. By addressing these needs, we nurture the process of healing, transitioning from passive observers of our wounds to active participants in our well-being. Each step toward fulfillment becomes an act of bridging emotional voids, propelling us beyond the confines of pain into empowerment. As we delve deeper into this dialogue, the act of journaling emerges as a powerful tool. This sacred practice allows us to externalize thoughts and emotions, offering catharsis and clarity. Journaling creates a dialogue in ink, where subconscious thoughts surface without the filter of external judgment. In these pages, we converse freely with all facets of ourselves, charting the evolution of our inner world as we move toward integration and healing. Intentional rituals enhance this journey, serving as sacred containers for self-reflection. These rituals can take any form: meditative practices, ceremonial writing, or symbolic gestures. Any action that signifies our commitment to bridging past wounds and present healing. Through ritual, we signify the importance of this journey, dedicating time and space to delve deeper into dialogue with our inner world. In pursuing this dialogue, we forge resilience, transforming wounds into catalysts of growth. By acknowledging and engaging with our deepest selves, we cultivate the emotional intelligence needed to navigate life's challenges with grace. Our willingness to embrace wounds as sources of strength allows us to integrate their lessons into our narrative, ultimately leading us toward emotional resilience and self-compassion. This voyage of engaging the wounded self leads us toward integration, where all parts of our identity harmoniously merge. Integration is not about fixing what is broken, but unifying all facets of ourselves into a complete, rich mosaic of being. As we embrace both light and shadow, we dissolve dichotomies, holding space for vulnerability alongside strength. Through integration, we move toward wholeness, embodying a holistic narrative that honors our complexity. Thus, the journey of inner dialogue unfolds, a continuous, evolving dance with the soul. It is a lifelong journey, inviting us to deepen our self-connection and transcend limiting beliefs. Through compassionate introspection, we nurture our relationship with ourselves, transforming pain into wisdom and wounds into paths of healing. In this sacred dialogue, we renew and redefine ourselves, embracing the fullness of our potential with grace and presence. In the quiet tapestry of night, where shadows mingle with whispers of forgotten dreams, we find ourselves contemplating the nature of pain, a fleeting visitor in the grand theatre of life. Imagine pain as a wise traveller passing through the chambers of your soul. It has left its mark, yes, but it is not the essence of who you are. Instead, it flits and flows like distant clouds, drifting across an endless sky, offering lessons rather than chains. It calls for recognition, not as our defining story, but as a gentle brushstroke upon the larger canvas of our existence. This perspective becomes a lens, a prism refracting light into myriad hues, each revealing a part of our soul previously concealed. As we embrace pain's ephemerality, curiosity and spontaneity, long dormant beneath sorrow's weight, emerge, waiting to play upon the tender fields of our hearts. A dialogue with our inner self unfolds, where we honour each story we've lived, welcoming forgotten joys to dance in the open air once more. It is here in the gentle unveiling of hidden facets that we rediscover the effervescent delight of being. Amidst this unfolding, vulnerability stands tenderly at the threshold, a guardian of authenticity. While its aura can seem daunting, within it lies the seed of wholeness. Embracing vulnerability is akin to shedding heavy garments by a crackling fire, revealing the vibrant truth beneath. It beckons us to face our shadows, to peel away the masks crafted in response to pain's lullaby. In this naked openness, we foster bonds with others, and more intimately with the self. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is a powerful hymn celebrating raw honesty and profound strength. In this sacred alchemy, compassion becomes the catalyst of transformation. With gentle eyes we turn toward our own reflections, exchanging judgment's harsh whispers for a symphony of understanding. Self-compassion not only soothes the wounds etched by time, but invites us to cradle each flaw and scar as beloved parts of our journey. As we shower ourselves with compassion, our hearts expand outward, blossoming into empathy for the woven stories of others. This shared humanity becomes a tapestry of light, where threads of connection and transformation form an unending loop of love and growth. To weave pain into the greater fabric of our lives, consider paths that invite reflection and expression. Allow the act of journaling to become a sacred ritual, a dialogue with your inner warmth, narrating the story of suffering and its transformative gifts. Mindfulness and meditation offer sanctuaries, stillness breathing life into awareness, guiding us to engage with our pain without succumbing to its embrace. Creativity, in its myriad forms, be it painting sunsets or serenading the moon, becomes a conduit for expressing what words cannot fully capture. By sharing these creations within community healing spaces or gatherings under starlit skies, we unveil the shared nature of our quest for wholeness, finding solace in vulnerability's embrace. Consider now the elegance of forgiveness, an art, a gentle release from pain's grasp. It is a declaration of liberation, an opening of clenched fists to let go of grievances and lingering shadows. Forgiveness is not a gift given to another, but a beacon of light within yourself, allowing the past's spectres to dissolve into the mists of time. Alongside forgiveness stands the art of letting go, an acknowledgement of what once was, freeing you to walk the path bathed in the dew of new beginnings. It invites a sacred surrender to life's mysteries, where each unfolding moment offers a canvas for renewed stories, for trust and transformation. As resilience unfolds from these practices, it becomes a sturdy oak amidst swirling winds, rooted firmly in the earth of emotional mastery. With patience, we nurture a vocabulary that articulates the symphony of our inner world, empowering us to ride life's waves rather than be swept away. Daily rituals of reflection, a series of gentle melodies, create strength and grace, enabling us to meet life's challenges with open hands and a soft heart. Boundaries, those invisible lines drawn across the soul's landscape, protect and preserve the sacred sanctum of self. They delineate the space where others end and we begin, forged from self-knowledge and respect. With these boundaries set, personal sovereignty flourishes, a choice to author our stories, free from others' scripts. This sovereignty emboldens us to craft paths showered in authenticity, drawing strength not from past shadows but from the essence within. Rediscover joy as a spontaneous dance in the sunlit meadows of your imagination. Let it unfurl as a celebration of life's whimsy, a bird soaring high, joyous amid nature's bounty. Joy invites us to glimpse the world anew, a child chasing bubbles beneath cotton candy skies. Spontaneity walks hand in hand with joy, a gentle breeze encouraging us to revel in the adventure of the unknown, painting our lives with vibrant hues of spontaneity and curiosity. The journey beyond sorrow blooms into a horizon teeming with possibilities, a garden tended with love and care. As we incorporate past experiences and insights, we step into a future unbound by pain's tether, eyes wide, hearts open to the wonders awaiting us. This voyage is not solitary, but invites others into its embrace, weaving tales of hope and healing into the broader tapestry of human experience. In reclaiming ourselves beyond sorrow, we embrace beginning anew each day, a letter penned with grace and gratitude upon life's endless pages. In a world that often demands certainty, Carl Jung and other luminaries offer us a paradox. Identity is not a fixed entity, but a flowing, ever-evolving process. This notion contrasts sharply with the societal narrative that asks us to define ourselves narrowly, by job titles, relationships, or even past traumas. Like water that changes form yet remains inherently the same, our identities can transform in response to the ebbs and flows of life's experiences. Embracing fluid identity means acknowledging the myriad selves housed within us, recognizing that each facet has its time and place for expression. When we understand our identity as fluid, we liberate ourselves from the constraints of a singular narrative. Here, the pain of yesteryear becomes merely a thread in the broader tapestry, contributing to the expansive story of who we are becoming. Living as fluid wholeness is to embody resilience, adaptability, and openness to the present moment. Each experience, whether painful or joyous, contributes to the ongoing narrative of our evolution. In harnessing the wisdom of individuation, the process of becoming whole through integrating both light and shadow, complexity enriches our expression of the self. Fluid identity encourages us to embrace the full spectrum of human emotions, recognizing the necessity of remaining pliant, open to growth. The present moment then becomes a threshold of transformation, a space where the past and future converge, offering an invitation to fully inhabit our existence. Here, Jungian philosophy reminds us of the transformative potential of presence, a space untainted by identity rooted in past suffering. Engaging consciously with our thoughts and emotions through mindfulness, we learn to witness experiences without clinging to them, distinguishing between transient sensations and the essence of self. Each mindful breath draws us closer to a realm where we gather courage, open to curiosity, free from old wounds. This moment is a canvas upon which new stories are painted, where replication of the past is replaced by conscious choice. Pain too emerges not as an adversary to be vanquished, but as a profound teacher, a catalyst for our deepest growth. When we cease to define ourselves by our pain, we begin to see it, a messenger from our unconscious, signalling attention and transformation. Carl Jung suggested that our darkest moments can illuminate pathways toward individuation, where suffering becomes fertile ground for personal evolution. Pain as an ally liberates us from identifying suffering with identity. Here, narratives that once ensnared transform into tales of resilience. In acknowledging pain's transient nature, we allow it free from stagnation, unravelling lessons and inviting its integration into our understanding of self. We shift from victimhood to empowerment, embracing the fluidity of joy and acknowledging the lessons pain imparts. Navigating this pathway requires embracing uncertainty, traditionally equated with insecurity. Yet, in its essence, uncertainty invites growth and transformation. Certainty forms walls around our potential, whereas uncertainty opens doors to creation and inspiration. It is through this embrace that we navigate change with grace. Fluidity seems daunting, but equally paves the way for authentic self-exploration. In perceiving ambiguity as invitation, not threat, we venture beyond familiar, guided by innate intuition, engaging in co-creation with the universe, stepping into narratives of possibilities. Amidst these shifting landscapes is inner stillness, offering transformation's wellspring. With constant stimulation tugging at focus, practice of stillness allows reconnection to our core. Silence and introspection grant clarity, offering unconscious wisdom room to rise. At this time of reflection, shadow and light integrate, nourishing fluid wholeness's path. By choosing solitude, we attune deeply to messages our bodies relay, making choices authentic to the self. Such moments of stillness become essential companions in self-awareness, empowerment's quest deep within. Releasing past grip emerges through forgiveness's practice, a decision to loosen resentment's chains, not as approval of wrongs committed, but affirmation of healing power. Forgiveness liberates identity from old wounds, ushering paths unencumbered by past residuals. Through this sacred act, we reclaim power from diminished spaces, fostering recognized interconnectedness of human condition. As individuals forgive, they extend compassion beyond themselves into collective healing embrace. Forgiveness creates cultural ripple effects, society's tales redefining. To discover fluid wholeness leads to self-discovery's mystery. Openness, growth and shift replace expectations of limitation. Embracing the unknown aspects ignites creativity. Stepping stones awaiting expression. Facing fears with bravery, relinquishing self-discovery's control, we surrender to spontaneity's magic. Individual essence emerges, a dance between inner and outer experiences. Finally, we confront and integrate Jungian shadows, unseen parts neglected from conscious acknowledgement. Denial diminishes human expression's richness. Embracing shadow integration uncovers liberation, augmenting authenticity. As we shine lights into shadow realms, we dispel illusions of separateness. This deliberate integration yields a unified tapestry, fluid wholeness's vibrant portrayal. Through choices, we harness transformative potential, the dance of choice becoming sovereignty's testament. Eminent beings of transformation design their narrative by empowered decision-making. Personal authenticity, aligned desires cascade into the shared nets uniting us. Choices create collective influence, reshaping narratives, deepening self-awareness and interconnected relations. Life beams riches through sovereign, collaborative force. As we conclude our journey, fluid wholeness emerges as a timeless dance of infinite unfolding, an embodiment of becoming. Completeness is neither static nor implying finality. Every experience, relationship, challenge offers opportunities for connection and growth. In gratitudes like trials and joys are cherished, contributing to life's vibrant mosaic. Join us in celebrating this endless dance, a dance sowing beauty and truth. If you found this journey insightful, please like the video and subscribe for more explorations of self-discovery.